Okay, so here's the big one that everybody's been waiting for. This is Don Tequilas, and his bar name is Julio from the track. So, of course, I'm going to keep that because Julio's really cute and it suits him. And this horse is such a ham and a huge, goofy personality on him. He acts like when he first came, he came directly from the track. He comes from a good trainer that I get tons of horses from. And a friend of mine who's connected at the track there, she messaged me his pictures and she said, I'm pretty sure you're going to want this horse. She said he's gorgeous and everybody loves him. And I can see why, because he just has this sort of like big, like, look at me type personality about him. Like, if you watch the video of him on cross ties at the end of the video where I'm getting him ready for the ride, he wants to sniff the boot that I'm putting on him. So, of course, I let him sniff it. And then he just like grabs it out of my hand and tosses it in the other direction. It's just sort of funny. He has this very like cocky, I'm so cool and so cute and look at me type attitude about him. And so, and obviously he looks like a real athlete as well. So he sort of has like this sort of larger than life type personality about him. And so, I thought that maybe he would be a bit of a handful to ride, but I'll tell you, I don't actually think I can ever assess that until you're sitting on their backs. There's just no way to know because I feel like I'm wrong so often about what I think is going to happen and then what actually happens. And I guess that's sort of the point of intermediary people like me who do this restarting because tell you can look at a jog video of a horse and it convinces you one thing, but until you tack them up and you're on their back, they're just there's no way to know for sure really how they are in the tack. And Julio is super, super quiet and easygoing. I could not believe it. I was ready to have, well, I don't know what I was ready for. I guess I was ready for anything. I was ready for him to be an athletic, spicy type of horse, and he is so not. I mean, he's so handsome and so cute. And this horse, what really struck me about him from this ride was how amazing his brakes are. Both times when we were cantering, the moment I just simply took my leg off, I just stopped saying keep cantering. He literally just came to a halt. I mean, it's not like he slowed down to a trot or he walked. It was like, no, like someone pull the e-brake. We are halting because you are not asking me to go forward anymore. So it was pretty funny. And now I'll have to make sure in the future that I actually make him keep trotting after we canter so that doesn't become like a habit. But it is kind of cool to see just like their natural instincts. Where are they starting today? And for him, he is totally a kick and cluck along ride. It's pretty funny just because it was not what I was expecting. But anyway, let me back up. Julio is a 16 two-hand 5-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Speedster, and he's out of a Union Rags mare. He had 20 career starts. He posted $103,000, and he last ran on 7/12, so he just ran about 2 weeks ago. I think he had a disappointing result in a handicap at Mountaineer, which is what prompted his retirement. And I was just told that everybody in the barn loves this horse, and I can totally see that. He's pretty funny. I have him in the main barn, sort of right across the aisle from my grooming stalls, and he has a stall guard up, so he's like in the special stall because he has the stall guard, and so he can like really come out and see and socialize, and he's just a great one to have there because he's like Mr. Personality. So there's not, I feel like I don't have too much to say about his ride because it was just sort of so pleasant and simple, which is like my most favorite things that a horse can be is pleasant and simple. Because I have a couple right now that are a little bit more tricky or complicated for whatever reason. So I just absolutely am loving the fact that this horse just requires clucking and kicking and that's it. But in all seriousness, um, he's equal opportunist. I mean, he needs to learn how to bend and flex. He's very soft in his mouth. He obviously wants to make the right shape without having any real clue of what's going on. He's happy to sort of engage in the conversation and be soft and use his top line a bit. And there's no doubt he wants to carry himself correctly. Where he needs to work is in finding some flexion in his neck. He's just sort of like really feels very straight through his whole body. I couldn't really get him to bend a lot, flex his neck to the left or the right, which just tells you that he's not really been asked to do that before. He's not exactly sure about how to do it, the cues, all the things, but he was super willing to try because in the canter here, we're doing all these circles and stuff, trying to get some flexion to the left. Actually, I do get a little bit right there. That was much better. So really, he's going to learn this by slowing things way down, spending some time in the walk and sort of walking some small circles, lots of big exaggerated bends to the left and the right, learning to wrap himself around the inside leg and all those things. Those are the breaks I was telling you about. I wasn't asking him to halt. I literally just stopped asking him to canter and he just and he was like, "Oh, great, we'll stop." So it was pretty funny. So I would say that he is a extremely, this is just like as simple and easy as it can be. I decided to show off a little bit the fact that you can just ride him around on the buckle. He's just so not bothered. You might notice if you're paying super close attention or you go back and rewatch that in this corner right here, well, there he doesn't do it, so he's making a fibber out of me. But at least when we started the ride, we left my two hounds out for this ride, which I try not to do on first rides. I don't know what I was thinking. Luckily, Julio ended up being super casual and didn't care because, of course, the hounds immediately follow us out to the ring and go over to the wood line, and then they're coming in and out of the woods. So if you have a spooky or a little bit of a more nervous horse, which it's appropriate for them to be that on their first post-track ride, then that can cause, just some distraction, that sort of thing. But Julio was totally nonchalant. It seems to me like he's a horse where it's not going to be very easy to get him rattled. He's clearly seen a bunch, and a couple of hounds popping in and out of the woods aren't something that's going to worry him. So to the right, he prefers to pick up the left lead. That's just the lead that he is used to picking up. So we did get the right lead on a small circle. We were doing like a 10-meter circle, and he picked up the left lead a couple of times, kept making the circle a little bit smaller, and then he realized, the path of least resistance here is just to pick up the right lead. The canter is super balanced, easy to sit, easy to ride, requires a lot of leg. And he's just going in a 5-inch full cheek snaffle with a peanut, super simple bit. And so here I'm just asking him a little bit to try and get him to start thinking about a little bit of flexion to the right, literally the same exact thing as to the left. Right here, he gives me a couple good steps. That's why he gets the pat on the neck. And then this is quite good here. So much lower leg going on here, keeping this horse cantering. And I think here I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask you to stop cantering. And he says, great, let's halt. So funny. So funny that that's his natural reaction. So here he's on the ground, big goofy personality. Nope. So funny. He also loves doing that. That's like his classic move. I've learned about him already. After he goes for a ride and he gets hosed off, I always towel off their face. They love that, because they're so itchy after the bridle comes off. So then that's when they get to really like get their scratches, when I towel off their face. And he loves that too, but he also thinks that it's the most fun thing in the world to grab the towel away from me while I'm toweling off his face. So it's pretty hilarious adventure wrangling the towel from him. And then when he does get it, he's whipping it all around, he's stuffing it in his mouth. It's very funny. So he's a really goofy horse with a big personality.